Introducing YouTube memberships, a fun way to support the channel while getting some exclusive perks. Click the join button to become a member now and get benefits like badges next to your name on videos, behind-the-scenes photos, advantages during the live trivia game, discounts on merchandise, private one-on-one video chats, the ability to request future video topics, and exclusive 8 to 10 minute videos on the history of the NFL. And now, on with our feature presentation. October 29th, 2000. It's week 9 of the NFL season, and we have an absolutely big game on our hands in the NFC East between the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles over at Giants Stadium. Aside from the fact that this is a big game because it's a huge divisional rivalry, this game has a ton of implications on the playoff picture as we're at the halfway point of the season. Both the Giants and the Eagles enter this one with 5 wins apiece, with the Giants sitting at 5-2 having taken their bye week already, and the Eagles sitting at 5-3. The winner of this game ties Washington atop the NFC East for the most wins in the division, increasing their chances at making the playoffs and potentially hosting a playoff game. And while the loser of this game is still in a very good spot to make the playoffs, they don't have a whole lot of room for error the rest of the way if they want to take the NFC East crown, which would be New York's first since 1997 and Philly's first since 1988. As for how this game turned out, well, the Giants were absolutely dominant from start to finish. It started midway through the first quarter, when Ron Dayne, the team's first-round pick out of Wisconsin, punched it in from a yard out to give the team an early 7-0 lead. Tack on a 27-yard touchdown from Amani Toomer with under 2 minutes left in the first half, and the Giants were up 14-0 at the halftime break. And while the Eagles tried to get anything going in the second half, it was no use. A 31-yard field goal made it a 3-possession game early in the fourth quarter at 17-0. And Joe Montgomery punched it in from 4 yards out with 6 minutes left in the contest to make it a 24-0 game. By this point, it was looking all but over. So far, Philly had 11 possessions. 9 of them ended in punts. 1 of them ended in a missed field goal, and 1 ended in an interception. It was that kind of day. Their last 3 drives netted -3 yards, and 7 of their 11 drives were either a 3-and-out or a turnover on the first play. When I say that nothing was working for the Eagles, a team that was just 1 for 11 on third down and held onto the ball for just 16 minutes, I am not kidding. Truly, nothing was working for the Eagles. Down by 3 possessions with 6 minutes left, they needed some sort of miracle to come back and win this one. The stagnant offense was going to have to come alive and fast. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. The ensuing kickoff got the Eagles to midfield. Whether it was a mishit or a poorly executed squib kick, I'm not sure. But either way, the Eagles only had to go 51 yards in order to reach the end zone. On the first play, Donovan McNabb finally gets something going when he hits Chad Lewis for a gain of 26 to get the Eagles just outside the red zone at the 25-yard line. That's the first time they've gotten inside New York's 30-yard line all day. And 2 plays later, McNabb hits Charles Johnson for a 25-yard touchdown. Finally, the Eagles are on the board. It took them 55 minutes, but they did exactly what they needed to do. They had a quick touchdown drive that took up none of the clock. If they can get the 2-point conversion and make it a 2-score game with just over 5 minutes left, you never know. They've got a shot. They've got to get the 2. A 3-possession game with just over 5 minutes left, and this one's over. But a 2-possession game? More than doable. So let's see what Andy Reid and company have lined up for this all-important 2-point conversion. Come on, Andy. Show me what you got. I'm sorry. What? You're kicking? You're kicking the extra point? Are my eyes deceiving me here? Andy, man, what are you doing? Why are you kicking the extra point? Why are you kicking the extra point, you cheeseburger-loving idiot?
David Akers, who missed on a field goal earlier for the first time this season.
Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before I break down what happened here, This whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something to look bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something that look awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of Philadelphia Eagles head coach Andy Reid. Look, obviously, today, Reid is one of the greatest head coaches in the history of the sport, and no one is denying that. He did amazing things with the Eagles, and has been nothing short of a legend with the Chiefs, winning 2 Super Bowls and starting somewhat of an AFC dynasty over there. And he's going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer when the time comes. No questions asked. He's an absolutely fantastic head coach, who is 5th all-time in wins, and will be 4th by the time the 2023 season ends. However, my God, his time with the Eagles, as great as it was absolutely plagued with questionable in-game management decisions at best, and horrible in-game management decisions at worst. Heck, I've talked about one of these dumb decisions on my channel before that he had in 1999 during a game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. And this is another one of those that makes no sense at all. So with that being said, let's take a look at why kicking an extra point down by 18 with 5 minutes left to turn a 3-possession game into a 3-possession game is a horrible idea. Now I know you might be thinking, maybe he was just waving the white flag. Maybe he saw his offense struggling all game and thought that it wasn't worth it to keep trying. The touchdown was nice, but he knew better. That's a really stupid reason, seeing as you play to win the game, and heck, just 6 days ago at the same stadium, you had the Monday Night Miracle between the Jets and the Dolphins. But if that was the case, I guess I understand it to some extent. Don't risk any injuries, and just get out of there unscathed. However, this logic fails and doesn't pass the sniff test for an obvious reason. Want to know why? The first play after the extra point, guess what the Eagles decided to do? That's right, they called a freaking onside kick, and they tried to get the ball back. How does that make any sense? If you're calling an onside kick in that situation, which you have to do, you're clearly trying to gain a possession and win the game. You're clearly saying, we're not surrendering, which raises the obvious question of why you went for the extra point in the first place, seeing as you quite literally had nothing to lose by going for 2. I always like doing a risk-reward analysis with these dumb decisions, but in this case, it's very obvious. If you go for 2 and you miss, it's a 3-possession game. Well, if you go for 2 and make it, you cut it to a 16-point game, making it a 2-possession game. If you kick the extra point, whether you make it or you miss it, it's a 3-possession game. So the best case scenario in that is the same as the worst case scenario if you go for 2. If anything, by kicking the extra point, your win probability actually goes down. That's how bad of a decision it was. By making it 24-7, your win probability is less than what it was 30 seconds ago when you scored the touchdown to make it 24-6. The logic is actually pretty similar to another episode of Dumb Decisions that I did involving Urban Meyer during a 2021 game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Seattle Seahawks. You can learn more about that by clicking the card in the upper right corner. So, look, okay. I'm not going to harp on why going for 1 to turn a 3-possession game into a 3-possession game is a dumb call over trying to turn a 3-possession game into a 2-possession game. We all know that, and I don't want to do that. Even though we all know that the odds that you can get 3 possessions and score 3 times in 5 minutes is almost impossible. So you have to go for 2 there. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Instead, I want to hear it from the man himself that you've been watching this whole time, Andy Reid. He was the one that made the call. He was the one that decided to execute this plan of stupidity. So why did he do it? I'm dying to hear his explanation. And folks, it does not disappoint. Oh no, it does not disappoint. Because Reid defended his decision to kick the extra point afterwards. He was grilled about it in the aftermath, and when asked about why he did it, he said, "You knew we had to go for 2 on 2 of the tries and 1 on the other. So we took the 1 early and went with it. We had the chart. We went through it. I chose to go with the 1. I'll leave it at that." Wait a second. Time out, Andy. Time out. You knew you had to go for 2 on 2 of the tries and 1 on the other? Am I hearing that right? You knew you had to go for 2 on 2 of the touchdown tries and 1 on the other if you were going to complete the comeback? Did you not know how to do math? Did you not know what the score of the game was? How did you mess this up? Oh God, he really didn't know how to do math. He really did not know how to do math. Let's do some very simple math here that a 3rd grader could do, shall we? You're down by 24 points. You need to score 3 times. The maximum number of points you could score on a drive is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. If you go for 1 on 1 of the conversions and 2 on 2 of the conversions, like you said, even if you max out, you get 23. And you're still down by 1. Oh my God, you really didn't know how to do math. One of the brightest minds in the history of the sport, a first ballot Hall of Famer, a 2-time Super Bowl champion, and an undisputed legend of a head coach, did not know that 8 times 3 equals 24. Are you actually kidding me? And what's crazier is that the next day, despite having an entire night to sleep on it, Reid still defended his decision to kick the extra point and was still adamant that he made the right call in kicking it. Adamant that the math added up and that he invented a whole new way of mathematics that was unbeknownst to us mere mortals. Move over, Einstein. Andy Reid has created the mathematical proof that 8 times 2 and 7 times 1 equals 24. Only after being confronted yet again by reporters, 24 hours after the game, during his Monday press conference, did he realize, oh crap, I screwed up. It took him a full day and multiple instances of people questioning his logic for him to realize that he was the problem. And he said, okay, then we should have gone for 2. I'll go back and look at the chart. I want to make it clear. Is this the worst decision in NFL history? Obviously not. Even if they go for 2, there's no guarantee that they get it. And even if they do get it, they're not winning the game, seeing as the Eagles only touch the ball 1 more time after this. But this might be one of the most absurd decisions in NFL history. Not because Reid did it, but because he legitimately thought that he made the right call even after being confronted. And he legitimately thought that he created a whole new way of studying mathematics. I don't even know what to say to that. I really don't. Andy Reid had his fair share of questionable decisions with in-game management with the Philadelphia Eagles over the years, to say the least. And especially during that 2000 season. In fact, later in the year, a few weeks later, they played the Tennessee Titans, and the Eagles led 13-12 with 2 minutes left and the Titans having no timeouts. Yet for some reason, Andy Reid opted on 3rd and 9 to call a passing play. The pass fell incomplete, stopping the clock, and giving the Titans enough time to drive down the field to kick the game-winning field goal, taking it by a final score of 15-13. It's actually crazy how poorly Andy Reid managed games, and now he's one of the greatest coaches in NFL history. So what do we learn from all of this? 8 times 3 equals 24. I know you all know that, but apparently, despite going through the American schooling system, and despite getting an education at BYU, Andy Reid didn't know that. If you need to score 24 points, and you need 3 possessions to do it, you have to score 8 points, or a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, 3 times. 7 does not fit in there. You cannot kick the extra point. An extra point is completely and utterly meaningless in that situation. If you try to kick the extra point, your odds of winning actually decrease. That's how bad of a decision it is. And when confronted with actual mathematics proven over thousands upon thousands of years, don't try and dispute the facts. I promise you, Andy, you've won 247 games over your career, but you're not going to win that battle. Because when all these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Get your official Jaguar Gear 9 merchandise by going to jj9shop.com, and be sure to like and subscribe, as it really helps the channel out a lot. Join me every Wednesday night where we'll play NFL Trivia for cash prizes at 9 p.m. Eastern over on Twitch. To learn more about the history of college football, subscribe to Jaguar Gator 8. To learn more about the history of Major League Baseball, subscribe to Jaguar Gator 7. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters for helping out the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.